All right, hockey fans and Panther fans, before Stu gets mad at me and throws his hat at the screen in disgust. All right. Well, it's funny because I believe it was Taunts in the comments and asked me to stop wearing the Panther jersey in the recaps and just wear a t-shirt. So this is not this Upper Deck and Rob Thomas. So because he says it's too soon to see the Panther stuff. He says it's too soon. So all right. Speaking of too soon, it's early in the morning again, but that's
Can I
okay.
ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead, brother.
I forgot to ask you yesterday. The recap you did night before last,
Uh-huh.
wearing a Uyghur jersey.
Yeah. Oh, you
What was
just
it?
now.
Yeah, well, I forgot to. I told you, things go in their head and out there. I forgot to ask you, what was that all about?
God, this was actually the first live stream before the Lightning series. One bad Steve
One bad Steve,
sent me.
Mr. Defense Attorney for one Mackenzie Uyghur sent you a jersey, right?
He sent me a brand new Uyghur jersey. Yes.
Nice, Steve. Where's mine?
Oh man. So yeah, that's where that came from. And I've been forgetting to say anything, and you never. So yeah, I've been wearing it during non-Panther stuff, right?
Well, why didn't you wear it after game 2 of the the Tampa series?
Well, I mean, I
Never
wore
mind. Let's move on.
it.
I made my dig.
You made your thing. All right. So
wait. Before
yeah,
we
go ahead.
go on.
Go.
So I was listening to your video about the possibility of Bob Uyghur.
Right.
And I thought it was good in theory. Then I started thinking, okay, well, what teams, if Bob would waive his no trade, what team could I see both of them going to? And the first one that came to mind was Montreal.
Right. Yeah, you texted me that.
I don't know, the Flyers maybe, but I don't know why Montreal pretty much came in. Maybe because Carey Price is gone and Montebone, he hasn't done squat.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen. It's just my opinion.
Right.
I really don't see Bob. Why would Bob waive his no trade? And that's the big question. Why would he?
Right. It's not, I mean, on one hand, you could say, he may feel like that's not my problem. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But on the other hand, he may be like, well, I'm going to get paid either way. So, anyway,
again, you think about, let's just use hypothetically Montreal. So now you're moving from 80-degree weather every day.
Right.
My wife, my young kid, we're going to have more children, love it down here.
Right.
Blah, blah. And now we're going to move in January to snowy Montreal. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We got ourselves in a pickle signing, that contract was stupid.
Right. So, all right.
Anyway, all right, moving on. Listen again.
I get it. It's okay. The idea
Panther
comes
hockey.
in.
Gotta have some Panther stuff in there. Right.
Yeah. No, of course, man. Of course.
Because there's really not much to talk about in the game last night.
Well, it was actually very Panther-esque, and on both ends of the ice, because that's what the Panthers do both ways. When we turn it on, we'll score 3 goals in 2 minutes. And all of a sudden, in the middle of a game somewhere in the middle of October or February, we will just brain fart all over the ice and give up 3 goals in 2 minutes. That both. So when we were mentioning it was very Panther-esque. Edmonton looked bad again, and the guys in the broadcast were talking about they look gassed. And I suppose that they're talking about because of the upper revelation and all of that. Because I mean, that's the only thing that makes any sense. But it was the longer the game went on, it got worse and worse. And Colorado, just somewhere around the second period, they really started finding their groove and really started playing just true playoff hockey as opposed to whatever you want to call game 1.
Oh,
So,
it's got to be mentioned,
right.
the altitude.
Yeah.
It's just, it has to, because if you're used to playing in that, you're acclimated, blah, blah, blah. But when you come in and, obviously, you're playing at high altitude and you're going to
Right.
have a little short of breath. Panther-esque, absolutely. 2 goals in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that happen? How
Right.
many times have we seen it? So what was it? 3 goals in 2 minutes or
3 minutes and
thereabouts? 3
yeah,
minutes?
yeah, it's like two and change.
Didn't that happen to us in the game we came back against Toronto?
Yeah, it was something very similar, something like that. Something like, I mean, and this was on 3 straight shots. That was the worst of it. It was 3 goals and 3 shots, which I don't know if you guys can do math, but you can't get any better than that.
Yeah, he didn't look good last night. I mean, the game was basically over at that point. I'm not going to say Edmonton gave up, but you could see that
Right.
all the air in their balloon kind of went
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And look, I mean, goaltending, this guy, I'm just going to call him Frankie rather than butcher his last name.
Francois,
I'm thinking it's Francois, but the broadcasts are just pronouncing it like a S, and Francois.
whatever, we can call him Francois.
I'm going to call him Frankie. Either way, because that's what they were chanting. They're chanting Frankie, Frankie, Frankie. But I mean, when do you see your backup come in round 3, in the finals and pitch a shutout? And it's not like he didn't face a tremendous number of high quality shots, but a shutout's a shutout, so you got to give him credit. And then on the other end, I mean, Mike Smith looked like Patrick Waugh in the first period, and then like James Reimer in the second.
Yeah, he looked his age. He just the reflexes on some of those shots.
Yeah.
At least on the, I just.
And it makes you wonder, I mentioned this, it makes you wonder what Edmonton was thinking. Here they've got this team that's, supposed to be, cup contenders. And Mike Smith is who we're rolling with. It's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? And Koskinen played well. I was surprised to see them go back to Smith. I really was.
Me too.
Me too. Yeah, and I gander that Koskinen might have been a little bit surprised himself.
I think that was an error in judgment.
Yeah. He played his guts, but that's
listen, Colorado is still Colorado.
Yeah.
Kind of figured they were gonna, as much as maybe sentimental. I wanted Edmonton because I wanted to see McDavid get a shot, but
right.
I don't see this series going more than 6.
No, you're right. Even, I mean, I don't see anything that's going to tell me Edmonton's just going to go home and sweep both games. I think they might win game 3. They've got to come out game 3 and take it. Otherwise, it could be over in 4, and nobody wants to see that, because that's for us Panther fans. We've seen sweeps enough. And the other part to it is that Colorado's been there, done that for so long here in the second round that you just develop a mistrust. You know what I mean? You kind of don't trust them to finish it off. So we'll have to see. They look like they were thinking about blowing it to the Blues, and then they found a way to win. So if nothing else, like we saw in the one game, even though Colorado lost that game, if nothing else, McKinnon will just take the puck on his stick the full length of the ice and put the whole game in his hands. And I'll take a player like that any day and take my chances with the results.
Did you notice how McDavid was getting bounced around every time he touched the puck?
Yep.
See, just like a Barkov. You can't let a player with that much talent and creativity have the time to do something with it. As soon as he touches the puck, somebody is bouncing him.
Yeah. It was.
And they're bouncing him heavy.
They're not.
He's got to be banged up.
Right.
And you could see the frustration.
Yeah.
You could see the frustration in his face because he can't do anything.
Right. It very much looked like Colorado watched some Tampa, Florida, and said, all right, we don't maybe have to play so ridiculously tight, but they definitely tightened things up a bit. Where Edmonton, I think they came out expecting the same the same, run and gun type of style. And it's funny because I talked about it where, Edmonton's on their interim coach as well. And it looks like he doesn't have any answers to being played that style as well. So I just thought it was an interesting comparison there. So, all right. Tonight,
Same thing.
18 straight times Tampa has lost a playoff game and then won the next time. That's a lot. I mean, 5 or 6 is decent, but 18 is absurd. That's like just unspeakably ridiculous.
Well,
So,
I guess the odds are now that it's time to break that streak.
sometimes your numbers got to come due, right?
I mean, I stay out of the box.
Right.
Stay out of the box. Stay out of the box.
Yep.
Get a quick goal first 10 minutes.
Yep.
Let Shesterkin get in the groove. Zero in on Kucherov.
Right.
Neutralize Stamkos. I mean, it's a pretty easy formula, but who knows? I have a feeling Tampa is going to come out with a big push early on.
Right.
Rangers have to just survive that, and
Right.
like I said, no stupid penalties. I mean, there's going to be penalties, but none of this.
Right.
Stupid trips and hooks and slashes on the hands. You never know what the ref's going to call.
Right.
I mean, the ref called. I texted you last night, and anybody that saw it, that Colorado had a 5-on-3. They had 2 penalties.
The
called,
elbowing.
right?
Yeah, the elbowing.
Whatever. And then, like, at the end, they killed it. And then Duncan Keith, I think, was the player that blatantly tripped McKinnon.
I know, McKinnon went flying.
And no call.
Right.
And no call.
Right.
I guess they couldn't give him like a third power play in a row.
Well,
That's
I guess
the way that these referees are just
very
they're just so inconsistent and so subjective on what they think's a penalty, and when the timing of penalties and whatnot. It's just they affect the game. They really do.
And they cleaned it up last night. To your point, the first period, I mean, it seemed like every face-off they were tossing guys. So clearly there was something going on there with the refs in the first period because they were way too involved. And then the rest of the way, they were kind of non-existent, But
so for me, the key for the Rangers tonight is to not let them call those questionable, stupid penalties.
Yeah.
And I hope Frankie V gets another goal tonight.
And don't get dragged into the retaliation because
that's another thing.
You saw it at the end of the game.
Yeah, look how that game ended. Now, what I'd like to see happen once and for all in the first period, maybe in the first shift, who knows what the line matchups would be. I want to see Reeve and Maroon drop the gloves once and for all, and go at it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and just let them go.
Right.
And I want to see if Maroon is man enough to, step up to the plate and accept the challenge, because Reeves challenged him a few times.
Right.
Maroon he comes off like Mr. Tough Guy, but he hasn't dropped the gloves yet.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want to, never want to see fighting, especially in the playoffs, but this is something that has to be done.
It has to happen.
All right. It has to be done. Enough of this, in Tampa, going back to last year's Panthers series where they did that scrum bullshit.
Right.
Talked about in previous videos. You saw Foot, punching the Ranger guy at least 4 or 5 times, and he didn't get called. I mean, that should have been, the league.
Well,
the ref should have called a major game misconduct. This maybe a game suspension. There's no place for that. But to not call it. So anyway, so that's the key. Shesterkin again has to come up big in the first period. Stop.
Right.
Whatever they throw at him, and maybe the Rangers get lucky with Vasilevsky. I have a feeling is going to look like you said.
Yeah.
They haven't lost 2 in a row, and that's because of Vasilevsky. He puts up like the deflector shield.
Yeah, it's like
in Star Trek. Nothing can penetrate him. No matter what you throw at him, nothing can penetrate him. So That's what I'm
Right.
looking to see tonight.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Look,
I'm not going to make any predictions. You got any predictions?
unfortunately for Ranger fans, I think low scoring 3-2 Tampa. I'm trying to get one of these games to overtime. I'm trying to will one of because I enjoyed the playoff overtime celebrations are the best, you know, and so I'm trying to get one of these games to overtime. Last night wasn't going to happen. Maybe we'll get it tonight. Maybe we'll get it tonight. It's going to be, it's going to be, obviously I feel like Tampa's going to show up. It's going to be interesting to see what style they're going to use because whatever style they were using the other night, they were completely out of sync. So it doesn't really matter. And, playing that lockdown style might favor, I want to say it favors the Rangers, but the Rangers can play that style with them. So I can see where Tampa was thinking, let's open things up a little bit. It just didn't work out for them. Obviously, when they open things up, they've got to count on Vasilevsky to make the stops, or it could get bad quick because they do depend on him. That's the thing, and I think that's why we see when Vasilevsky has a bad night, it's 5-6 goals because Tampa leans on him so much. So their style of play is, well, we might allow this, allow that, but we trust Vasilevsky to make the saves. Unless they play that lockdown shit that they did against the Panthers. So I'm interested to see the coaching battle between these two, because you got, Gerard Gallant's not stupid either. He knows that Tampa's going to come out completely different. So it'll be interesting to see if he's got a new wrinkle ready already, to even kind of set the tone in a different way. You know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe they're going to try to get physical with Tampa. I'm really curious to see, because more than anything, when you get teams like this, it does come down to the coaches trading blows as well, in terms of, making adjustments and being prepared for the adjustments. As we saw, if you're not prepared for the adjustments, sometimes you don't ever get prepared all 4 games. And then
we'll look to see who's on the ice at the start of the game.
Good point.
Okay. If Maroon's line is out there and Reeves' line is out there, both coaches are sending a message.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know Gallant, he's no pussy.
No.
He'll go, he when he played, he had a reputation.
Yeah. I was going to say, sometimes he looks like he's ready to put the skates on and get out there and do it himself.
Yeah. He was one of those pit bull type of players.
Right. Yeah.
He wasn't Mr. Finesse.
Right.
And,
right.
You always have that. He always has that look on his face like, okay, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Right.
So,
right. Yep.
Anyway, I still say the key to stopping Tampa, again, you stop Kucherov.
Right.
You stop, you obviously stay on Stamkos just like you would Ovechkin.
Right.
And Hedman.
Yeah.
Dump and chase with those guys. Just tire them out.
Right. Yeah. And Hedman's
and just, finish your checks. That kid line on the Rangers, that line's been incredible. That was like our third line.
And that's one thing that hurt us. We kind of counted on that third line to be, a difference maker. And then obviously, with coaches, with Brunette's comments about Lundell after the season, he needs to get in the gym, get stronger. He learned some, he kept saying it was
Marchment being out killed
and
that.
Marchment being out too. Right. So with Lundell struggling, Marchment being out, that was a big part of the Panthers team, was that third line, because even if teams can match up with the top 2, that third line was a difference maker. And you're seeing the same thing now with New York, so is what it is. I guess we'll just have to continue to, monitor whatever. There's been a lot of feeling on the streams, to switch back to the Panthers here to the end. The going thought, with the couple exceptions, is that the longer this goes on with the coaching in indecision, that means Brunette's going to be gone, because we kind of feel like if my theory is, if you got to take that long to figure out that he's your guy, then he's not your guy. So I'm hoping here within the next week, we at least get some kind of announcement that, okay, you know, this is what we're doing. We're going to look. Somebody said Trot said he's not in a rush to make a decision. So
Good. Well,
right.
Zito said they were going to take some time
Right.
to decompress and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and then, but you're right. I mean, if people don't know, Darryl Sutter won Coach of the Year.
That's right.
So that kind of, you know, you made the comment to me that it makes it easier.
Yeah.
For us to dump him.
Right.
And again, you dump him, you dump the rest of the staff, because none of those guys, I mean, where were they?
Right.
You know,
right.
Derek
right.
McKenzie, Al Samuelson. I forgot the other two guys. And it doesn't matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter at this point. We need fresh blood.
Yep. I agree.
You know, a better defensive system.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing.
There's no way we're getting 322 goals next year.
No. The teams are going to play us different. And we're not, look, you saw it in the Bobrovsky video. I mean, forget the Bobrovsky Uyghur thing. We don't have money. I mean, we have 9 forwards signed. 9.
Yeah.
And I think we've got like 3 million in space. So something's going to have to happen.
It's really a really bad situation.
The more I looked at it,
we have so much talent. It's just, we don't have the funds.
Right. So
we don't have the funds. I really don't want to get rid of Hornquist.
I know, neither do I.
I know it's money, but the guy is such a big part of the lifeblood of the team, you know.
I agree. It's just when I started looking at the, at cap friendly, and there he is, 4th at 5.3, and you're like, because it's a 4th line guy. You love him to death, but yikes, that's such a big no. When considering how, Mammon, Marchment, Luosterainen. Luosterainen's a RFA, so we could probably still keep him, obviously. But even if you sign Mammon, Marchment, and Luosterainen, that's still just 12. It's still just 12.
Yeah, well, like I said, you got those 4 contracts.
Right.
You got Bob Ekblad.
Right. Well, and you got decisions to make still on Uyghur, Huberdeau, Gudis is on an expiring contract. Yeah. And so is Spencer Knight. That's the other thing I looked at.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that.
I didn't realize that. I'm like, well, shit. That's when it started to set in that, we're going to lose somebody we don't want to lose, because this is just not money for all, or we're going to have to play Russian roulette with a couple of these guys and let the contracts go the full length of the season and hope, because that Yandel hit, not everybody's getting paid. It's a mess. It's worse than I thought. Yeah.
So speculate, Spencer Knight, at this point in his career, what do you think he's worth and length of contract?
I think his management is going to be smart, and I don't think he's going to sign for 1 day longer than Bob's contract at the most. And it's possible that could be part of the why they're looking to trade Bob. Spencer's people might have come to him, and said, "Well, we'll give you a 1 year bridge, maybe 2." But they're looking. Spencer Knight's people are looking at Vasilevsky and going, "We think he can do that." And Vasilevsky got just under 10 million. So
I don't think he's getting that, but I don't think.
Well, he's not going to get that.
I don't think his management is going less than 5 million a year.
Well, yeah,
that's the number that's in my head.
Right. They might do us a solid and give us a 1 year bridge deal and say, you guys better sort your shit out with Yandel and Bob and all of that. But he's not just going to play for free. You know what I mean? And he knows that he could go somewhere and earn, he has to earn that money as a starter. So you figure a 2 year bridge deal before the bigger deal comes in. So I'm sure that they're willing to work with them, but they're not going to just throw Spencer under the bus either. So there's just no, it's a mess. It's the more I looked at it, the worse it got. Because during the season, we're like, we're going to win the cup. We'll worry about that later. Well, later is now. And when I looked at it, it's a horror movie. It really is.
I wonder if there's a team in the league that has the dilemma that we have.
I can't
Now we could go
imagine.
down. We could go down. Let's just zero in on a few players. All right,
Right.
Gudis,
Yeah.
hands down, got to sign him. Find a
Yeah.
way, get it done.
He's two
He's
and a
got
half. Right.
excuse me.
He's 2.5. So if he doesn't want to raise, I'm good. Give him another 3 years.
Yeah, I
Right.
just he to me he's a must.
Right.
I'll take the good and the bad with him,
Yeah, I agree.
but just having his presence on the ice,
Yeah.
he's Big Daddy protector.
Right.
Okay, Marchment.
How's his head? How's his head?
That's the big key.
Because
He's had now, well, 2 concussions this year,
right.
and he's been injured in previous seasons. I
right.
really don't remember what exactly those injuries were.
Right. You've got Mam in there to fill that spot. I think you're going to sign both of those guys. But the problem with Marchment is, what's he going to want? What can we afford? And with the head injury, that's a tough one. That again, I mean, every spot you look at, it's tough because it's like Patrick Hornquist is like, we want him on the team, but damn, that solves a lot of our problems too. So every player, like you're saying, is a special circumstance where Zito has got. I mean, give that man a raise because he can't be sleeping much.
Yeah, don't forget he's got a staff of analytics guys and money
Right.
guys, and they put the calculations in.
Right.
You would agree with me that Giroux is probably not going to be signed. That's a money thing.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. It's not like he came in like Sam Bennett and was like, holy crap, we got to keep this guy. That's
Right.
It's still a question if he's going to have chemistry with any of our players, really. He had some decent games, but when you're looking at who you'd have to lose to keep him, it's just like and look, there's going to be the one wild card in there too, where for all we know, Zito is sitting there going, I'm not losing Uyghur. We don't know. We don't know. He could have a completely different POV. He could be looking at the analytics a completely different way, and he could be dead set on we have to sign Uyghur. And yeah. I mean, so to do that is a completely different road. It's man.
Yeah, fuck those guys on YouTube.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. For all we know, the Panthers have like this internal T-shirt that they pass around. It says "Screw Jaws" or something like that. Screw Stu, Screw Jaws.
All right, Ben Sherratt. Ben Sherratt.
I thought what I was seeing was decent, although he did have a tendency to get beat one-on-one, and then I guess it was Colby wrote an article talking about, and the statistics in there were he was like basically our worst statistical defenseman since he came in, which sucks because we gave up a 1, a 4, and a prospect for him. So that again, how much money would he want? How much money do we have? If you're letting Uyghur go, you got to at least think about signing Sherratt. But then I talked about this. It's like, well, you go into the season, Ekblad, Forsling, Montour, Gudis, Haig, Lindbaum, Carlson, Lindbaum.
That's where I thought we might, Zito might have. I guess he didn't have the confidence in a Carlson or a Lindbaum.
Right.
I mean, this is before they got Haig, but was Carlson that bad?
No,
was Lindbaum that bad?
I mean, for a bottom pair, fine.
I mean, those was, they were, not to say they didn't make mistakes, but they were pretty solid guys.
Yeah, they were solid. Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't like we had to go out I think there was so much pressure that go out and get that, that defenseman that would put us over the top. And you know what? Right. They didn't.
No, we didn't lose because of defense. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean? And we're just talking about the numbers. That's the whole thing too with Zito is that what do you fix? How do you look? You were the highest scoring team. and then you lose the way you did against Tampa, getting basically, 1 goal a game until you got shut out. So what you thought was your strength was your problem in the playoffs, and what you thought was your weakness was your strength. And I want that job. Because, and I said this in the stream yesterday, there's any number of things he could do that we could be like, that looks like the right move that could blow up in his face too. This is where it gets tough when you really have to fix, I keep saying it's all talent's mistake, but it's not all talent's mistake, because everybody reminds me that Yandel was Tom Rowe. So when you have to fix mistakes, there's usually never a good answer for it. So,
but the Bobrovsky signing was, talent, and like I said at the time, I think that a lot had to do with PR and blah blah blah. But I just think we need to retool the system, and focus on defense.
A little bit.
Good defense leads to a good offense. I mean, in the playoffs, it's all capitalizing on defensive mistakes, and special teams.
Right.
So, if anything was to be learned from this year's playoffs, is you can't rely on offense, because Tampa put in the, they put in the system to,
it's cliche, but it's true. Defense and goaltending wins championships.
Yeah. So that's why I think we need new coaching and new system. And it's just, and I said it yesterday, it's just, we haven't had consistency in coaching in the last 20 years.
Forever.
We haven't had a coach that's been around 5-6 years where everybody's now into that system that the coach.
Yeah. We're even when we've had good coaches, we have found ways like Gallant to I know you hate I keep bringing that up, but that's stuck. I'm stuck on that one. So we'll end it at that. All right, guys, we appreciate all the support. There's still hockey, so there's still content. We just keep rocking and rolling, right? So what's today? Today's Friday. Rangers.
Friday the 3rd.
Right. Jeez. Rangers, Lightning tonight. Live stream 1 hour before the game starts at 7:00. Then the recap after. Then Stu and I will drag our asses out of bed tomorrow morning on Saturday, and we're gonna do it Sunday again too, because they're still playing hockey.
Man, I'd love to see the Rangers take it again, and just I'd like to see, like you said, I'd like to see a 3-2 overtime game.
Yeah.
Frankie V. How Frankie V used to score those game-winning goals.
If Toronto wins it in overtime, the Panthers Twitter is just going to absolutely just Harry Curry itself, because I don't think the fan base can take that. That would just be too much, man. That would just be too much. All right, guys, we appreciate all the support, and I'll see you later tonight. And Stu and I will see you again in the morning tomorrow.